Hello, my good people out there. You are welcome to Literature Hub 247. This is a channel where literature is discussed every hour. This particular video is about a non-African play titled A Man for All Seasons. A Man for All Seasons is written by Robert Bott. Earlier on this channel, we have discussed the Act 1 of this play. So this is Act 2, scenes 5 to 10. Your own text may not be divided into scenes. I only did this to make it understandable. So, I divide the narrative into scenes. So, this is Act 2, scenes 5 to 10. Now, if you need the link to any of the scenes that have been discussed, you can send it through the message box that I will send you the link to the previous scenes discussed on A Man for All Seasons. Let's go ahead and discuss the scenes. Cromwell enters carrying a file of papers. He apologized to Moore for the short notice of invitation. Cromwell tells Moore that Rich will be recording their conversation. Remember, in the last scene, we read that Moore is invited to appear in a court. And this is the scene. So, Rich will be acting as the secretary that will be writing down their conversation. Moore replies to Cromwell's question that Rich is his old friend and he admires his gun. Cromwell tries to tell Moore that he is a good admirer of him. Rich starts writing what Cromwell says, that he stops him, laughing at him that it's not yet time. He has been commissioned as a secretary. So he's just writing what the two of them are saying. So when it's not yet time for him to write to put down the conversation. Thomas More shows his readiness to listen to the charges, but Cromwell tells him that there are no charges, and More tells Rich to write it down. Cromwell explains further that there are no charges, but questions. He says that the king is not happy with his stance against him, and is ready to reward him very well if he could change his mind and support him. There is no honor he will be denied. So they are trying to buy Thomas More here so that he will be in support of King Henry. More remains adamant, and Cromwell changes the discourse. He asks More whether he heard about the Holy Maid of Kent who was executed for prophesying against the king. More replies that he knows the woman and sympathizes with her. Cromwell then accuses More of not telling the king about her treason talks. More defends himself that the woman didn't speak of any treason and that their conversation was not political. More says there are witnesses to testify to what he is saying. More also admits that he wrote a letter to the woman advising her not to meddle with the affairs of the state. He says he has a copy of the letter with him as well. Cromwell informs More of a more serious charge. He accuses Thomas More of writing a defense of the seven sacraments, quote and unquote. More denies writing any part of the book. This is a book written by King Henry himself. He explains further that he only answers certain questions on canon law which the king put to him. Cromwell then brings forward King Henry's marriage with Queen Anne. More responds that he's not to be asked that question again. Cromwell comments that More doesn't understand the charges. More then tells him that the charges are empty threats to scare children. Cromwell then brings out a letter from the king where Thomas More is referred to as a villain and a traitor. More is a little bit disturbed and Cromwell tells him to go. After More leaves, Cromwell tells Rich that the king said it's either Thomas More bless his marriage or is destroyed if he doesn't support it. That is, he might be killed if he doesn't support King Henry. More is now outside trying to wave down bows, but none stop for him. Norfolk then appears and says he has been following Moore. Norfolk says it is dangerous, knowing Moore not to talk of seeing him. He tells him about Cromwell's campaign of calumny and the role he's playing in it. Moore then tells Norfolk to forget their friendship so as to be free to carry out his roles unhindered. Norfolk protests that it is impossible and advises Moore to change his principles. So Moore here is advising Norfolk to forget about their friendship so that he will be free to carry out his role. Moore also finds it impossible to change his mind. He replies that he thinks much of friendship, but one must remain loyal to himself. Moore briefly picks offense with Norfolk. He accuses him of selling his conscience for the immoral action of the state. That is Moore accusing Norfolk there, that he has sold his conscience for the immoral action of the state. He concludes that Norfolk is not fit for heaven. Norfolk is infuriated and he eats more and leaves. Margaret and Rupert arrive. Margaret tells him that they have been looking for him. They inform him of a new act in Parliament that calls for the administration of an oath about the king's marriage. Moore asks for the wording of the oath if it is something he will be able to take, and he explains his philosophy to them about man's struggle for life. He explains that God created the angels to show him splendor and made animals for innocence and plants for simplicity. God created man to serve him wittily in the tangle of his mind. He explains further that man's duty is to find ways of escaping death until the time his time to die comes. He says, when men finally die, men can run and clamor like champions, quote unquote. Showing God's splendor, he says they should go home to study the new heart. Now, Act 2, Scene 7. The common man is now playing the role of a jailer. Moore is now in the Tower of London. He says that he can let Moore out, but the duo will end up in jail. At the beginning of the play, I said that the common man is playing, that he plays several roles in this play. So here he's acting as a jailer. An every drop in his front, and he opens it and reads the letter. The letter foretells the convictions of Norfolk, Cromwell, and Cranmer, the Archbishop of Canterbury, for high treason. The executions of Cromwell and Cranmer are revealed. It is also revealed that Rich became a knight, Solicitor General, and Lord Chancellor before he died on his bed. The jailer wishes everybody the same good luck. These revelations from the letter have not yet taken place. The trio of Cromwell, Norfolk, and Cranmer are just coming to the Tower of London to interrogate Moore. The jailer wakes up Thomas Moore, who has been waking at 1 o'clock, and escorts him to the interrogation. The jailer tells him that the secretary, the duke, and the archbishop are there in response to Moore's question. Cromwell, who is the secretary, presents Thomas Moore with the Act of Succession. The document makes invalid the king's first marriage and the right for the Pope to sanction it. In addition, the offspring of Queen Anne are the rightful heir to the throne. Moore agrees that the children of Queen Anne as heirs to the Majesty, citing the king in Parliament, but he refuses to swear to the heart. Moore refuses to swear to the heart because he believes there is more than that in the heart. They make several attempts to persuade him to change his mind, but he remains adamant. He then explains to them that so far he has not given any reason for not swearing to the heart. They can be sure he's not holding out to give them a problem. He says they can only sentence him to life imprisonment, but cannot convict him for treason, which results in the death penalty, since they couldn't find any fact against him. Norfolk tries to convince Moore to sign by showing him the list of those who have already signed the document. More responds that those that did might have done so with clear consciences, and is not condemning them, but cannot do it. So they are trying their possible best to convince him, but more remain adamant. When all effort to persuade and convince him fail, he is allowed to go back to the cell. He is denied access to his family, and Cromwell orders that the books with him be withdrawn when he requests for more books. So remember that Thomas Small is now is no more in his house. He's now in a cell, and the families are not even allowed to see him. Cromwell then inquires from the jailer. Let me take that one again. Cromwell then inquires from the jailer if More spoke of the king's divorce, his supremacy over the church, or his marriage. The jailer says he heard nothing of such. He is then commissioned to report anything he hears to the lieutenant. He is obliged to swear an oath to that effect, and he did. That is the jailer. He is also promised a sum of 50 guineas for any report. Cranmer then warns him against cooking things up because of the reward. That is, they want him to not to tell lies, not to cook up lies because of the reward that he has been promised. In an aside, the jailer is amazed at the huge amount involved as a reward for him. This is a sign for him that much is at stake, and that the 50 guineas reward could turn into a deadly penalty. Cromwell orders Rich to withdraw the books with More, and intimates Norfolk of the king's reaction to More's silence. He says that the king is getting impatient with them. Rich talks to Cromwell about the vacant post of Attorney General of Wales, but Cromwell turns him down. He is preoccupied with More's silence. He thinks of how he will be made to speak. More's silence is giving them serious problem when he refuses to talk, and they have been commissioned by the king that they should convince him, but More is adamant. He says that the king's conscience is disturbed by More's silence, and if he brings the idea of More's death, he plants his own. The only solution is for More to concur and break the silence. That is, if he gives the king the idea that More should be killed, that means he also is going to die. Act 2, Scene 8. In the morning, More's family visits him at the Tower of London. The jailer announces to him that his family is around, and he allows him out of the cell. More is happy seeing his family after a year incarceration. So he has spent a year in the cell, and they only allow the family to see him because they believe that they could be able to convince him to change his mind. That is why they are allowed to see him now. They bring custard, cheese, and wine for him. Alice is not happy with the condition of her husband, but More does not care about his condition. Rupert also shows his displeasure with the place and advises that More should take the oath. Margaret also says that her father should just utter the words of the oath, even if he is not speaking out his mind. Mother counters it and says that oaths are spoken to God, and the person saying it stands as collateral in front of God. Alice then says that More intentionally picks prison over life at home. That is Alice. Is saying that More intentionally picks prison over life at home. Margaret also explains how they feel at home in his absence. More then deduces that his family is allowed to see him because they think they could persuade him to change his mind. And that is it. The jailer tells the family to leave in 2 minutes. More then directs Roper to go and engage the jailer, but should not try to bribe him. He gives the wine to him to distract the jailer. More then tells Alice and Margaret to leave the country, that they will not be allowed to see him again. He advises they leave the same day, but not in the same boat. He begs them to leave immediately as they don't have any case. More comments Alice for the custard and address, but this further upset Alice as seen in her reactions. More wants Alice to understand why he's not in support of King Henry. He feels that if he dies and Alice does not understand him, it will be worse than the torture he undergoes from his enemies. So he wants Alice to understand him and why he does not support King Henry. Moore says Alice should tell him she understands for him to make a good death. Alice responds that his death is not good for her and that it is something that can be avoided. Moore shows his distress and insists that Alice must understand. Alice is moved by this and she hugs Moore and calls her the best man that she ever met. The jailer then comes back to tell the visitor that it is 7 and that they must leave. Roper and Margaret beg for more time, but the jailer does not listen to them. Alice even rains abuses on the jailer, but is not deterred. After they leave, the jailer apologizes to Moore, telling him that he's not a bad man, but only doing his job and want to keep out of trouble. So he's tender his apology to Moore that he's only doing his job. That is what he is instructed to do. That is exactly what he is doing. That is not a bad man. Act 2, Scene 9. This is a courtroom scene. The common man put things in order on the stage as a courtroom. That is, he dresses the place as a courtroom. He places art on poles to represent jurymen. As he's about to leave, Cromwell stops him. And informs him that he will play the former of the jury. Norfolk and Cranmer preside over the trial. Norfolk informs Moore that he is called to the Hall of Westminster to answer charges of high treason. He gives Moore the last opportunity to take the oath, but he refuses. Norfolk asks Cromwell to read the charge. The charge reads that Moore conspired and deprived King Henry of his title as the supreme head of the Church of England. He is hereby accused of treason. Moore, who is shocked, says that he never denied Henry's title. Cromwell points out that his refusal to take the oath means disapproval. Moore responds that legally his silence does not indicate denial. He mentions the silence of some people who just witnessed a murder. The witnesses are believed to be associated with the crime because of their refusal to speak or stop it. Cromwell says that everybody can easily interpret the silence of Moore. The latter responds in front of the jury that silence does not mean consent. Cromwell explains the meaning of silence and cites instances. Cromwell, who is becoming emotional, raises his voice and calls on Reed to take the oath and afterward take his stand. Reed is to testify that he heard Moore saying that the Parliament does not have the power to declare King Henry as the head of the Church of England. He does testify that Moore said, quote, Parliament has not the competence, unquote. So they are looking for all possible means to nail Thomas Moore. Moore says that he's sorry for Reed's perjury than his own peril. He swears an oath that there's no time he denied that King Henry is the head of the church. He also reminds the people that he's somebody who gives high regard to oath. Moore then remembers that Southwell and Palmer were there during the conversation. Cromwell responds that the two men are in Ireland on King's assignment. He also adds that the men were not listening to the conversation because they were busy with the prisoners' books. Cromwell asks Moore if he has anything to add, but he says nothing. Norfolk asks Thomas Reed to go, and Moore says he has a question to ask him. He made a request to see the chain of office Reed wears. He examines it and recognizes it as that of the Attorney General of Wales. Cromwell explains that Reed is appointed the Attorney General of Wales More looks straight into Rich's eyes and cheats him for selling his soul. Norfolk announces that the jury will retire and weigh the evidence. Cromwell responds that there is no need for them to retire. The foreman then says Thomas More is guilty. Norfolk then pronounces that More is guilty of high treason. More points out a correction to them that they are supposed to ask the prisoner if he has anything to say before pronouncing the judgment. Norfolk then asks him if he has anything to say. More rises and cites both the Magna Carta and the Coronation Oath to denounce the act of supremacy. He explains further that the immunity of the church is well stated there. He says that the king in parliament cannot bestow the supremacy of the church because it is a spiritual supremacy. He affirms that he remains a loyal subject of King Henry. He says that he is on trial for his refusal to support the marriage of the king with Queen Anne, and not because he denied the act of supremacy, and that is the truth. Norfolk eventually pronounces the judgment that More is found guilty of high treason. He shall be taken to the Tower, then to the place of execution, where his head shall be cut off. Now, the last scene, that is Act 2, Scene 10. The scene is now at the Tower of London. The people already gather to watch the beheading of Thomas More. The common man now acts as the executioner and wears a black mask. As More arrives, Norfolk offers him wine and he rejects it. Margaret runs to his father dejectedly, but More consoles her. Now, after this, the woman who tried to bribe More shows up among the crowd. She accused More of giving her a biased judgment. More responds that if he is to give the judgment again, he will not alter the judgment. More urges the executioner not to be afraid to kill him, as he is sending him to God. He tells Cranmer that he is sure that he is going to God. So he is so determined. There is a blackout which indicates the execution. After that, the common man addresses the audience. He advises them not to make trouble, and if they must make one, it must be the one that is expected. So that is the end of A Man for All Seasons by Robert Bolt. Well, we're also going to discuss the dramatic techniques, the characters, and the themes of this play. So, if you are new on the channel, try and click on the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever any video is produced. Now, if you have any question on this video or any other video or any literature text that is recommended by WAEC or the poems, just send your questions through the message box and your answer will be sent immediately. Thank you and God bless. Now, before I go, you are free to share our video on any social media platform. You can also invite your friends to join us. Thank you and God bless.